Yeah, before I get into today's video, I got a quick question. I know this is a scam, but I wonder if anybody else has gotten this scam. And I'll have a screenshot of this last message I got at the end of this before the next video. But I've gotten a third notice. Now the first two came from a 716 area code, which is New York State. And I just got one here from the other day, and it's funny. Like I say, this is where I know it's a scam, because it's got the phone number starts as a 44, and then it's got, instead of having a 10-digit number, it's got like a 14 or something. It's got some weird phone number. So we looked it up. It's possibly a UK phone number. But anyway, anybody else get this scam where they say you owe money on Easy Pass? And I had until March 12th to pay for it, or else my truck registration is going to get suspended. Now I know it's a scam because I don't drive toll roads. I don't go through Easy Pass. I haven't been in New York State, well, probably 6 months now. I was there in one dealer I go to up there. But the only times I've ever been on a toll road is probably 25 years ago when I went to Dunkirk, New York for my honeymoon. And probably the absolute last time was 20 years ago when I went up to the Finger Lakes in New York to pick up my milking parlor. So I don't know how they're trying to scam me. I mean, it's got you'll see in the screenshot, it's got some screwed up website you can click on. I never click on them things. This is why I don't answer phone numbers or return calls to numbers I don't know. I know, like I say, it's a goddamn scam just to get your information. But that's what I was wondering. Anybody else ever get these screwed up things? And I'm getting stuff all the time. I won a generator at Tractor Supply, which I know that's I don't even care. If you really look at the websites and stuff, nothing matches up. At the bottom there, it says to unsubscribe from this mailing list type deal. It's somebody just trying to get your information. I've won how many Walmart gift cards. I don't know how many things I've won from Lowe's. It's the other big one I get. They try to get you on your greed. Everybody wants that free little thing. Oh, I'll claim this. But all it is a scam to get your information. Like I say, I don't care if they offered me a $10,000 gift card to click here. I don't do it. Like I say, unless I know I've entered something, I don't just randomly accept stuff. So, with that being said, I'm going to put the screenshot of this last message on here, and then we'll get on to today's video. How's everybody doing today? This is going to be a simple video, basically. I had a question on the last video about the rope I was pulling on the manure spreader. So I'm going to make this basically a two-part video because I remembered another question I was asked a while back, kind of forgot about. So this is going to be basically answering two questions, maybe a little more information on this one video. But this is a New Holland 155 spreader. I would say this is probably the most common size spreader in our area when there was a lot of farms. Now you got more bigger farms, they go to slurry manure and stuff, but this handles box manure and everything. And this would be well, put it this way, since 1972, this is the fourth spreader we've had. And this one has lasted the worst out of all of them. This spreader I bought in 2012. And I've already replaced the end gate on it, and it's jacked again. I've replaced this end panel. There's supposed to be a flap here. I've replaced that with a piece of rubber because it's like $300, and by the time you get all the hardware for that flap, I just took a piece of conveyor belting and bolted it on there. But you can see the sides are all flaking off. Whole length of the spreader, it's all busted out. And I've talked about it before, New Holland's warranties are junk. I don't even think they've warranted them for 10 years now. The spreader my dad bought in 1972, I know you can still get sides for that free. Back then they had a lifetime warranty on them. Then in, I'll be 91. The first year the farm went in my name, I bought a used 514 spreader, which is a size smaller than this. I remember that because it pissed my dad off. I had to check in my name like 4 months, and I went out and bought a used spreader because the other one was getting bad and it was smaller than, size smaller than that one yet. And then I ran that one until, oh, when the hell was that? Probably about 96 or 97, somewhere in there. Then I bought a new 145 spreader. And then I ran that one until 2012 when the axle broke on that one. And then that's where I bought this one. Then I've had one of them night side discharge spreaders till that all rusted out. Ran that for years too for this pen pack manure. But anyway, somebody wanted to know how this lever here that I was pulling on in the rope. And what that does is it changes the speed of the apron on the floor here. Right now it's in the clean out position. What you do is you bring that around till it's in the neutral position. But I always start it in the low position. You're supposed to put it in neutral, start the beaters, lift the end gate, pull the rope to engage into the slow speed, and then that activates the apron and starts moving it towards the beaters. And then when you get down to about empty or low, when it starts, you'll see it, the pile starts rolling back, you don't get quite as heavy. Then you move it up to, that's a rabbit there. And that increases the speed of the apron to a faster speed to clean out. And then when it's about empty, put it in that position. And that kicks the beaters out and just the apron runs to sweep the floor of the spreader out. And I can't recall offhand what the book says. That was a nice piece of side. See, these sides are going all to hell. But what it is exactly, but like I said, I think in the low speed, this floor moves like a foot per, no, it can't be a minute. It must be something like 2 foot a minute or something. It's 1 foot, it'd take forever to empty this. It'd take you 15 minutes to empty this out. But anyway, it's like the low speed would be like 1 foot per minute. The high fast speed is like 2 foot per minute. And then the clean out is at 2 foot per minute. And kicks the beaters out. And like I say, I can't recall offhand what the actual number is, and I'm not going to go dig the book out for it. What happens is, what that does in here, there's a cable. I don't know if you can see that cable right there. I don't know what the glare is. But when the PTO shaft turns the shaft up there, it runs that pulley at the very front, and the shaft runs down through that shielding. And then there's that cable underneath it. So that's spinning this all in here. This is the beater clutch. Right now it's disengaged. When you pull that rope to the neutral position, this goes forward and it disengages. There's 2 sets of sprockets here. There's here and this one. And this is your high speed, this is your low speed. And like I said, well, what that'll do is this mechanism will pull back, disengage these gears, and engage this. And then when you pull it into neutral, or low speed, this mechanism will pull forward and engage this clutch in here and drives off this shaft, and it turns a worm gear in the gearbox here that drives a gear that's in this housing that moves the apron forward. And then again, when you pull that rope again, because it's on a turn, I don't know exactly how it does it because of geometry and everything. When you pull it to high speed, then this will actually move over to this side and run this on high. And then when you pull it again, this stays engaged. And then these forks here disengage that clutch, and the beaters stop and everything cleans out. Now, somewhere around here, I don't know exactly whatever happened to it. I bought it for that 145 or the 514 that I had, the first one, the used one, and I did have it on the 145 at one time. But they make what they call slowdown kit for this, and it's just 2 different size gears, and it'll bolt on. As you can see, these slots right here, another one up here. Should be a third one somewhere. Pretty sure it bolts on through. Maybe it has to bolt underneath this bracket here. Maybe it's only 2, but there's a bracket. Oh no, it bolts all the way across here. Bolts to these 2 here. There's a bracket that bolts here. And then there's 2 more gears, a bigger one and a smaller one. And what you do is you move this gear here over to this area, and you run a chain up to there, and then one from this, that sprocket that would be here, down to this one, and it'll cut that low speed into half. And I thought that would be better for a lot of this long hay. God gives it time to chew through it a little bit, and rip it up more, spread it out a little more even. But you're talking, like say, if this is 1 foot and 2 foot, that's like 6 inches a minute, whatever it is. Maybe I'll go dig the book out here yet and get the real spec. But that's if you want to do a little more fine tuning. And like all manure spreaders, they're just getting to beat hell, like I say. Ever since Fiat bought New Holland, once it was no longer Ford, they just cheapen the shit out of this stuff. And they say nothing lasts. Another thing I got to get here if I'm going to start really hauling some shit, there's the track here that the apron comes up around on is all rusted out. I need to replace both of them or a chain hooked somewhere and I ripped the chain apart. But nah, that's the basics how a spreader works. That's all this is doing is changing the apron speed. And then to adjust your spread rate while you're spreading, you do it with the different gears on the tractor. Now, that tractor there, I like out back here that when I spread that there, that last time, because it was mostly manure, not much straw in it, and I wanted to keep speed up. You know, since it's mainly manure, I could figure I could put a little less per acre. I was running 5th gear with that tractor. But I wanted to keep some speed up, so I just didn't dig down. If I was in, and that's why I usually spread on hayfields. I usually like to put a lighter coat on the hayfields, so that's in smaller pieces and breaks up. Now, if I was on a cornfield, I'd probably be in 5th gear, power drive, or 4th gear direct drive. That's usually the 3 gears I run. Just depends what I'm spreading, where I'm spreading at. And I say, if you really want to get into the technical, like I say, we're supposed to maintain a manure management plan and a nutrient management plan. And a manure management plan is basically keeping track or applying manure to fields that need it, you know, not over applying it, where I'm storing it and all that stuff. Nutrient management plan is how much I'm putting to the acre, and basically what you're supposed to do, you're supposed to keep track of where you're spreading manure at, and I don't know, it varies how many tons per acre you want to put on. And that's what you should do. Like I say, some manure's got a lot of bedding in it, so it's going to be on the lighter, less denser than stuff that's all manure. And what you're supposed to do is go out there and calibrate how much you're putting to the acre. And I kind of roughly figured here the other day, try to get an idea, because it's been so long since I've done it, because it always works out fairly close to what the rate I'm putting on, the speed I go and stuff. As long as I'm not putting it black, you know, I like to apply it to as many acres as I can, and I try to skip a year like every other year or something. Try to haul it to places I don't normally have it. Most guys will just keep hauling the closest fields. But what you would do to calibrate to see how much you're putting per acre with a spreader like this is you would take like a 10 by 10 piece of plastic and you'd lay it out in the field somewhere where you're mainly going, and you take the way I was spreading out there. What I do is I always ride, you got your two tire tracks, like this one here and this one here. Well, this is a pass I just made. The next pass I would make it here, and then so on. Well, it would take, you'd have to spread about 3 loads to do this, because, you know, some dust kick out the sides. But you'd run over that 10 by 10 piece of plastic, and then you pick it up and weigh it. And an acre is 43,560 square feet, I think it is. And if you take that 10 by 10 piece of plastic, that's 144, or no, it's a 12 by 12 I was figuring on. Yeah, 12 by 12 plastic, which is 144 square feet. And then that goes into that 43,560, I believe, was 302 times. So you take whatever weight you have in that, on that plastic, times it by 302, and I think it's 302 and some, but say 302. That'll give you roughly how many tons per acre you're putting in there. So like if you end up with 150 pounds on that piece of plastic, you're putting roughly 2.5 tons to the acre. So that's roughly the gist of the spreader, how it works and stuff. The only real problem I've had so far with the spreader is, I don't think I ever put it on this channel. I think I had it on my other channel. I screwed up here. One mistake, you really gotta watch this. I tie this rope onto the levers in the tractor. Well, this would be a separate mistake, because I did that one time. Forgot to untie this and drove off, and I yanked the shit out of my 3-point hitch lever. Bent that up, had to get another one and stuff. But the one time I forgot to jack this up, I hooked it up and I forgot to lift the jack up, and I pulled ahead and I bent the foot of that jack. And this is another thing I hate about Fiat. The prices of their goddamn parts, they want over $300 for that jack. You can't get that foot separate. Or yeah, you can get the foot separate. The foot was, I'd have to go back to that old video. It was ungodly. It's still, no, you couldn't buy the whole jack. You could buy the parts, but you couldn't buy the whole jack. I believe that's what it was. And it was well over $200 just for that foot piece. And to get by, I was able to take, since I wasn't using it at the time, I took the foot off of my hay rake. Problem is, it's a little bit shorter than this, so I didn't have as much jack. Or did I replace this whole jack? I don't remember now, it's been so long. Then I had to replace that belt one time. I put a new apron in it. These are the tires that came on that 145 spreader that I bought. That's the other reason why I traded spreaders that time. That 514, the end gate was rusted out. And I went to order a new end gate, and at that time, the dealer, he said that spreader was worth more to him without an apron or without an end gate on it. Because he had people looking for spreaders for horse manure, and they usually don't have tractors that have a hydraulic on it, so they didn't really care about the end gate. So that's where he worked out a deal on that 145, and the one reason I went with it is because of these big tires. Usually it's got 22-inch truck tires on there, and they leave ruts in the field. Well, like I showed in that other video, this one likes to ski downhill when it's greasy. But these tires at the time were a $700 option, and now it's like $350, $400 just for the tire. And I've replaced one tire on this, but that's why I kept the night spreader I got, because they were the same tires, so I could just swap them over. What I couldn't do is just swap rim for rim, because these have a lot more deeper offset. The ones on the night, the mounting is like right here, where these are over farther, so I had to go have the tire changed over to this rim. And this one's getting to the point it might be in the mood for some issues. Maybe this is one I did put on here, I don't know. As long as it holds air, I don't care. It's a spreader. But I guess that's how this manure spreader works, how that lever works, what that lever's doing. Probably more information than anybody wanted to know on a manure spreader, but that's what it